You are now listening to the Pelicans post-game report. Flash report.
All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. Subscribe, and hit the hype button. PPR is in the building representing the Flock and Nation. And this one, man, we'll be talking some Pelicans draft prospects going into the season. So as we have our charts and everything set up for the fam, professionally done. As you can see, the Pelicans' three biggest offseason needs, an official offseason blueprint for the Pelicans. So number one is rim protection and post rebound. The Pelicans need a physical veteran center who can protect the paint after shots and clean the glass. Derek Queen is the future. Zion Williamson benefits most when paired with a true interior anchor. So rim protection is one of the top things here. Also, elite perimeter floor spacing. Pelicans badly need to knock down high-volume shooters after finishing near the bottom of the league in three-point percentage in attempts. Better spacing is essential to open up the floor for Zion and the offense. And number three, veteran backcourt shakeup. The backcourt fit remains kind of awkward. Murray does not fully match the young timeline. And he's owed over almost $33 million this season. Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver must explore options to either move Murray or Poole for complimentary front court access. And you can see that you could probably win with more Murray than anybody. But the bottom line is this is some of the stuff that we talk about. But the first two things, talking about rim protection and perimeter shooting, is obvious paramount. So that's the main thing we facing with those three, the biggest offseason needs right here for the family members. If y'all have more, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll kind of work through this thing here on PPR. So the three biggest needs that we're facing down is those. Of course, what would be a position to watch at number 58? Now, we talked about a report that basically said that the Pelicans were interested in trading back into the draft. And is that valid? Are the Pelicans looking to get back into the draft this year? And these were the reports. Let me see if I can pull up the article right here for some receipts for you guys that you can see that would be the case. And I wonder if this is true. And of course, like we said, if you get a guy like Jamal Mosley, to become your coach, and then the philosophy is the Pelicans then have to figure out what would be the next move. As Mosley is now your coach, how he wants to move the team in the direction that it needs to be in. That'll be a whole nother fulcrum point for the Pelicans. And it just says, okay, now that you know the team, what do you want to do, Coach Mosley? What is your next steps? What do you think the team needs to ultimately do what it needs to do to become a team that's consistently in the playoffs? If that indeed does change, then that'll kind of push us to looking, beyond the number 58 pick. This is the Jose Alvarado selection in the second round. Is one of the articles right here. This is proof. Pelicans rumors Nola seeking to trade in the first round NBA draft, according to Clutch Points Insider. Talked about this. Pelicans will have some energy around the organization next season, hiring Jamal Mosley as the head coach. Before the season get here, the Pelicans will have a chance to make some moves, improve the roster, starting with the draft. Unfortunately, the Pelicans do not have a first-round pick after trading to Atlanta last year, but there are rumors they're looking to get a pick. According to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, he said while the Pelicans own just the second-round pick, sources said New Orleans is exploring ways to move up in the back end of the first round. Siegel wrote the Pelicans have called the Lakers and Cavs about trading into the first round. So talking, trying to get those late picks, and the Lakers report might have leaked out that the Lakers wanted Herb Jones in a package to send the Pelicans a first round pick. The Cavs also are rumored to be interested as well. They didn't mention one particular player that the Cavs might be interested in, but potentially leveraging Herb in an offseason trade could result in the Pelicans securing a top 20 pick in this year's draft. At this time, the Pelicans have yet to make Jones, Murphy, or Zion available in trade talks. Jordan Poole is the player New Orleans would likely want to move this summer. Pelicans have the assets on their team that could garner them a first-round pick, but it doesn't look like they want to give them up. Jones, Murphy, or Williamson could get them a pick, but it's uncertain if Poole could, especially after how he played last season. At the same time, the Pelicans may want to see what they have with their current group and if Mosley can get the best out of them. Health was their problem early last season, but once everybody was healthy late in the year, they started to make some strides. That could be a good sign as more to come for the Pelicans. If they can add a few players in the offseason, there should be some major improvement. So this is a good point, because what basically is going on is that Dumas wants to see what he can do with some of the assets. And of course, Jamal Mosley told him, man, I could do this, I could do that. And we've yet to determine if this is something that they can functionally put together. But remember, I played for you guys on the two broadcasts ago. I played for you guys the press conference, the reaction to Joe Dumars, his press conference, or the interview after the presser, right? Where Joe was standing up and they were asking him questions. He was sweating like he was on a treadmill. At the back of that interview, Joe Dumars said, we were a 26-win team. It's not like, we can't listen to anybody. He says he's open to anything. Joe, and I haven't seen a lot of articles talking about that. That should be one of the biggest talking points for the Pelicans, what Joe Dumars said in that interview. Now, of all of the interviews that we've seen, right, of all of them we've seen with them, and it's been kind of a lull, and then all of a sudden activity around Jamal Mosley being hired to be the coach. But one of the most important things that I heard outside of hearing Jamal Mosley's philosophy, which we know, is what Joe Dumars said, which was, hey, we're open for anything. I'm listening to all things. I'm open for anything. We only won 26 games last year. We can't be like, that we didn't, we need this, we need that. But he basically said he's open for offers. And that could be on Zion, it could be on Trey, it could be on Herb, it could be on Sadiq. It ain't going to be like Queen or Fears. They're not going to do that. But what sounds good to Joe Dumars and Jamal Mosley, now that he has his coach, remember we talked about architecting a team, building a team. You got the guy at the top and guy on the court. At the top, they have to synchronize. We heard him, Joe, talk about aligning mentalities. Him and Jamal Mosley line up in that regard. So now that he has his guy, now we begin the business of basketball team building. Now the Pelicans, like I said, Pelicans are not a team that's lost of talent. They have talent everywhere. It's just getting these guys to work together in a harmless manner, getting everybody on the same page, getting everybody to execute and operate on page, on code, with each other, communication, that sort of thing. Mosley's obviously qualified to do that. And like I said, when he went to Orlando, his first time in Orlando, he had to build that team up. He coming here to a team already have talent. They already have superstars. We got stars. We got Zion. We got Trey. We got guys here that can play. We have guys that were all-stars, that are all, that were all-stars on the team. We got guys that can play defense. We got two-way guys. We got a bench, right? We got young stars. So it's a young, not young stars. We got young potential stars, Fears, Queen. So we got guys here to compete. We got second tier guys, like Bryce McGowan's, Peavy. We got some talent. Carlo Mekovic, Yves Misi. We got some talent here. So we're not void of talent. You need a coach that's organized enough to make these guys see how to play together in a manner that makes sense. So the Pelicans do have a lot of assets that they can move, and of course you want to move Jordan Poole. It's going to be difficult moving Jordan Poole without putting some incentive, whether that be capital or players like Jordan Hawkins. We know Joe picked up the option on Hawkins for this year. He looked good on the back of the year when they were giving him the minutes. He started to find his stroke and everything. Do Jamal Mosley say, okay, hey, man, we got a shooter in this guy. He's a former first-round draft pick. Let's see how we can fit him in, because he's a guy we brought in to be a shooter along with Trey. I don't know how this is going to go. But at the bottom line is it kind of looks different for Hawk, because Hawk is not known for his defense, even though he tries. But maybe the right people wasn't talking. Obviously, the right people wasn't teaching him. Nonetheless, we have some interesting stuff to deal with. But nonetheless, let's go into the rest of the conversation when we talk about the team and adding people to the team. Now, barring that the Pelicans do not achieve it, and I think at some point between now and when the draft is, we got a little time. It's May the 29th. the draft doesn't happen until late June. I think. Hold on. Let me make sure, family. I don't want to tell y'all the wrong thing. Let me make sure the NBA draft, because I want to say it's late June that the draft lines up for 2 days. Let me make sure I give y'all the correct information. I don't want to give y'all the wrong stuff. But the NBA draft this year is set up for June. Yep, June the 23rd and June the 24th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So this will be the 80th edition of the annual draft. 60 total picks. It'll make it the first draft since 2020 where no teams have forfeited second round picks due to the free agency violations. It's the first round will be broadcast on June the 23rd via ABC and ESPN, followed by the second round on the next day on ESPN. And we know the top 10 order of the draft goes Washington, Utah, Memphis, Chicago, Clippers, Nets, Kings, Hawks, Mavs, and then the Bucks. That is the order of the top 10 picking in this order. And like I said, getting Jamal Mosley now to commit, and now he has time. And that's what the approach was, to get this stuff done and give the new head coach an amount of time to get his scouting department done, to go and scout the guys that could possibly be available, giving Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver an opportunity to sift through and find what players make sense in terms of trades, what's out there. Pelicans have the players, but nonetheless, we'll delve into that, the potential trade stuff in a later show. So anyway, number 58 watch list, Pelicans second round targets. Got some for you guys, right? Let me it's one officially that the Pelicans did make mention of from, it's a local product too. This guy's a local product. Hold on, let me see if I can get him here. There you go. Hold on, here we go. All right, here we go. There he is right here. It's the Solomon Washington. The last time we had a Solomon connected with the Pelicans, it didn't go too well. But this is a guy out of Maryland. This guy is from New Orleans. His name is Solomon Washington. And the Pelicans have a pre-draft workout lined up with him, Okoro's altering talent. One former Maryland Terrapin basketball player looking to leave a lasting impression starting tomorrow's pre-draft workout session. According to Vince Wolfram, wrote on X that Maryland Solomon Washington has a workout scheduled with the Pelicans per his agent, Josh Goodwin. Now, Solomon Washington is scheduled to do that workout with the Pelicans. And Washington, who averaged 10 points a game and just over 9 rebounds in his only season at Maryland after transferring from Texas A&M, says a great opportunity for Washington to showcase his physicality, size, length, and overall energy to the Pelican squad that is looking to establish new identity and direction under new coach Jamal Mosley. Now, Washington transferred from Texas A&M as a 4-star prospect to Maryland with head coach Buzz Williams this past season. Washington missed some of the season due to an injury, but ended up appearing in 25 games and starting 22 of them. Washington averaged almost 10 points a game, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.1 steal, and almost a block per contest. He also posted 6 double-double performances this season, including a career-high 17.12 rebound performance against Oregon back in January. Washington had to man the middle with his running mate, Pharrell Payne, missing nearly the entire season with a lower body injury he sustained in December. As mentioned before, Washington was a high-energy effort guy who was the glue of the struggling Terps team that finished 12-21, 4-16 in Big Ten, tying the program record for the most losses in a single season. However, Washington's play wasn't the reason for that. He was all-around player who did it all, getting on the glass offensively, defensively, setting good screens, rolling to the basket, guarding the best opposing players, switching, communicating, staying in the passing lane, overall hustling through the entire game no matter the score. Washington's style of play fits in what Mosley's looking to build within the young core of the Pelicans, a defensive-minded group that builds, quote, good habits, end quote, and takes, quote, accountability, end quote, as described in his introductory press conference. See, I couldn't fail to mention the Pelicans already have a former Terrapin basketball star on the roster. Y'all know who that is. That's former first-round draft pick Derek Queen, who had a great rookie season playing for the Pelicans. Pairing him with Washington would create a nice offensive, defensive, athletic front court for years to come. So the Pelicans are looking at this player, Solomon Washington. And I basically gave you the scouting report on him, averaging 10 points, 9 rebounds a game. He's also from New Orleans. He's a native of the city and a former state Gatorade Player of the Year. He plays intense, physical, high motor style that gives him or makes him the ultimate defensive Swiss Army knife. Some of the scouting reports indicate that his strong showing at the Portsmouth Invitational tournament raved about his rugged 6'7" frame, relentless rebounding, and unique ability to switch seamlessly across all 5 positions on the floor. While his perimeter jump shot remains a work in progress, his elite defensive IQ, physical grit, and hometown ties make him a perfect culture setter for Jamal's bench rotation and a priority target for the Pelicans at number 58. So this is some of the picks that we're talking about. Pelicans are scouting this guy, Solomon Washington. Now, he's, like I said, he's a physical player, attacks the board, do this. He's undersized, though, so he does not answer the size component about what the Pelicans would like to do, right? A lot of people say he sounds good, but he needs some height. Here's some more options or players to kind of think about at 58. The Pelicans could target defensive-minded seniors, developmental bigs, and priority two-way UFA talent. So how about Keba Keita? This is a BYU big man. That is all interesting. He's a 6'8", 230 guy, right? He's another one of these physical players to kind of talk about. Let me put that back on the screen for the family members so y'all can see Keba Keita. Here's his bio right here. 6.7 rebounds, 68% shooting from the field for Keba from the BYU Cougars. 6'8", 6'9", 231 pounds. This is an interesting player. And also during the 25-26 season, Keba Keita anchored the interior of the BYU Cougars, averaging what I just told y'all, set a single season program record by shooting a highly efficient 68% from the field, 87 of 128. And as a defensive specialist, his style centers on incredibly high motor, aggressive box outs, vertical rim protection that landed him on the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year watch list. Scouting reports highlight his elite second jump ability on the offensive glass and low maintenance offensive game. Though he remains limited as a shooter, posting 55.2% from the free throw line. For the Pelicans, his hyper athletic under the rim presence make him a plug and play backup center who perfectly matches Jamal Mosley's physical blue collar identity. So we looking at Keba at 6'8", 6'9", somewhere in there. And we keep it moving. We still looking for height to kind of help out for the team and see what they can do. How about Baba Miller? 6'11", 225 from Spain. This is a foreign player here. And Baba Miller from Cincinnati, 6'11", put together a versatile stat line for the Bearcats. He posted an average of 13 points, 10 boards, and 4 assists, and almost a block and a half per game. He's shooting 53% from the field. And Miller functioned as a unique point forward hybrid, leveraging his massive wingspan to lead the team. But his rebounding, while doubling as a perimeter facilitator, his scouting report highlights are showing rare fluid movement for his size, allowing him to push the ball in transition, step out to hit modern trail threes, and switch across multiple positions defensively. While his raw frame requires him to kind of muscle up, hit the weights to handle the NBA post play, his modern multi-positional archetype game makes him an incredibly high upside developmental piece for the teams, targeting wing and forward depth. How about Baba Miller? 6'11", forward with unique skill set. He's 225 to 30 pounds. Played a lot of games too in college, man. He as you guys can see, his best average came in 25-26 for the Bearcats. This is a few options, just throwing some of these guys, giving you guys some ideas about who these players are. How about another option right here for you guys? Felix Okpara from Tennessee. Served as a defensive anchor for the Vols during the 25-26 season. As you could tell, he averaged 8.6 boards, block and a half per game, operating strictly as a rim-running, shot-blocking specialist. Okpara finished near the top of the program's history in blocks while shooting almost 60% from the field, primarily off of dunks and putbacks. His playing style is defined by his versatility, explosive lateral recovery, and high offensive rebounding, pulling down 90 offensive boards on the year. Scouts value him as a low-usage interior presence who understands his role, dominates the drop coverage scheme, and alters shots without hunting for stats. He offers a immediate utility as a traditional rim protector who can step in and anchor a secondary defense. So there you go. Somebody, Felix Okpara, 6'11", 245 pounds from Nigeria. You see, he had a bunch of games right there. The last 4 years playing, averaging 30-plus games each year there. And could this be another player that Coach Mosley could be looking out for as well? All right, let's keep it moving. What do y'all think about some of these pieces I'm throwing at y'all, man, as we keep going? And remember, I'm just looking in terms of showing you guys these players because this is around number 58 pick, so some of these guys might be available. How about Izaiyah Nelson, 6'10", 220-pound forward from the University of South Florida, the Bulls, averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, and shooting 56% from the field. Not a three-point shooter at all. This guy shot 14% last year, but you can see he still you can help you in many other ways on the field. Now, he established himself as a dynamic frontline engine for the Bulls, accumulating a dominant 22.9 rebound performance in the tournament last year. He thrives in transition, playing explosive style built around catch lobs, sprinting the floor ahead of defenders for creating second chance opportunities out of pure hustling. Defensively, he allows him to step out and guard perimeter players and pick and roll switches before recovering to the paint. Though his face-up game and footwork are still developing, his baseline high-energy athleticism and transition running makes him a highly effective target to speed up a team's bench unit. So how about this guy, Mr. Nelson from South Florida? Just throwing a few names, and hopefully some of these guys will be available for the Pels going forward as some of the bigs. And then, of course, I do have a smaller player to kind of throw in. I just think this guy would be an interesting get if they can get him. Very interesting plays. Bruce Thornton. Now, this is a point guard. 6'2", 215, kind of a strong point guard for the University of Ohio State. He's from Georgia. He averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. This guy can straight up play. Shooting 55% from the field. He shot 40% from downtown and 83% from the foul line last year in 34 games from Ohio State. I know you're looking for bigs, but I just threw Bruce Thornton in here because the Pelicans could use somebody with a skill set. You know, ultimately, whether it's DeJounte Murray or, Jordan Poole, somebody got to go. These guys, it's too much money here, even if they have to throw some asset in with Jordan Poole to facilitate a trade to get him off the team, get the money out of here. Pelicans going to need somebody to help. Now, I threw Thornton in there, and people who know basketball, been watching college basketball, know that Bruce Thornton could play. Now, I don't know if he falls to 58. He might actually get drafted prior to this. I hope, I'm hoping he lose no money, but it'd be cool to get Bruce Thornton, who's very talented. Now, he commanded the Ohio State Buckeyes backcourt during his senior campaign, averaged almost 20 points a game, displayed exceptionally polished scoring profile. He shot 55 plus, high IQ floor general who rarely commits unforced errors and possesses the physical strength to hold his own against NBA-sized guards on defense. He projects as a reliable, mistake-free backup point guard capable of stabilizing secondary units when primary playmakers sit down. So if you ever get to the point where you have Jeremiah Fears in there, and we know it might not be this year, maybe it'd be next year or something like that, but you can have a Bruce Thornton there, right? We can have Fears step in, because at some point when you take a guy in the top, top 10 of your draft, at some point he's going to step into your starting lineup. And Thornton could be a guy that runs the floor unit. He could be a stellar guy. He has the defense, the offensive game, very good skill making. I question whether or not he'll be available at 58. He probably will not. But if he's there, you pull the damn trigger on Bruce Thornton. Just drew a guard in there just for you guys, just to kind of get, this, and this is the player profile we're talking about. That the Pelicans could be looking at. We know Solomon is definitely one that they were doing in some of the pre-draft visits and all this kind of stuff. And there will be more on the way between now and when the draft is on June the 23rd. So this just works out fine. Pelicans get the coach with Joe Dumars. He's very happy about that. Gail's happy. We're happy. Now those guys can work together in finding talent through the draft and team building. Now we get into team building. We don't even have to focus too much on the coaching staff because he already had the staff with him. He brought them over from Orlando, along with who we already have, Greg Monroe, Coach Mike Hopkins, and others. And Mike Hopkins in his own right is a solid coach. So having that talent here already makes for an easy transition right into fixing the team, doing what needs to be done. Let's go, Pels. Y'all feel free, smash on that like button, hit that subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. Big Q representing the flock and nation. Hype the stream, man. Y'all subscribe and join PPR, man, as we continue going forward. It's a very happy time for the Pelican Nation. We got a very, very strong coach that's going to bring in the system that we've been asking for years now. It's going to be really cool watching what they do over the next month. Are the Pelicans going to make a trade to get back into the first round? That'll be cool. Maybe you can stop all this crap about talking about Queen. I think that does soften the blow a bit. If they get back in the first round, maybe they'll stop talking so much about the 2 picks we used to go and get Queen so much. But nonetheless, Mosley's here, Dumars, Weaver working together to construct the team. We'll start seeing some of that as far as what they're looking to do in the draft. And, of course, as we get closer to the official offseason, when things start working, we'll start hearing some trade rumors and what happens there. We are here now. With that being said, I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all night. Much love, peace, and go Pels.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootetdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewoodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic, NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic, NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.